How y'all doing? I'm Paul Ryan, your host of the Across the Cowboys podcast. If you're new to the show, thank you for joining us. And to our regular listeners, welcome back. With me, as always, is my co-host, the greatest co-host in the world, Mike The Pig Crum. Mike, how are you?
Doing good, man. Doing good. We survived, so a lot better to get out of there with a victory than have this be like you lost to the now 2-10 Texans.
You know what, Mike? We're going to talk about it, man, but that Texas defense was something serious, dude.
Yeah, I think it was more about Dallas just didn't. We're going to talk about it. I'm a little bit annoyed with some of the things that went on, so I'll go on my stuff once we get through my meatless Monday, which I'm back on track on. Thank goodness.
Well, Mike, I know you said you're the Cowboys barely surviving. I know pre-roll we were talking. It sounds like you're barely surviving. But before we get into our discussion tonight, where can we find you on Twitter, sir?
At CD Piglet, guys. Nice and easy.
Guys, I'm Paul Ryan. You can find me on Twitter at Paul_Ryan15. Well, as Mike alluded to, we're going to talk Meatless Monday. My favorite topic. Mike, what was on the menu today?
I did Beyond Sausage breakfast sandwiches with the old the McDonald's hash browns. We get those here and convection bake. Yeah, so we convection bake those, so it's not fried, so it's not so bad for you. English muffin, a little light mayo, and then I fry an egg in some canola spray. And so it's not a ton of points, but it's really, really delicious. The Beyond stuff is pretty good. They've done a good job with that now.
Is the Beyond stuff? I haven't ever had it, Mike. But do they try to add like that liquid smoke to give it the that meat type flavor?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I don't taste the liquid smoke, which I typically think I would, but maybe they hide it. It tastes like sausage to me, but the texture is more like meatloafy for Impossible type stuff than it is like ground beef. It tastes like a mixture of ground beef and meatloaf. Like a regular burger patty, but then meatloafy a little bit. That's the biggest difference I notice between Impossible and regular ground beef burgers is the texture is a little bit more like a meatloaf sandwich than it is a burger.
Interesting. Yeah, I've still yet to try the Beyond Meat products, Mike.
They're good. They're like, I wouldn't want to eliminate meat and only eat those, but one day a week, I like them. They're not bad.
I was told my wife, she used to work with a guy, and like when the Beyond Meat stuff started like coming out, like it was at fast food chains, I believe it was Burger King, but he read an article saying that like the quality of the Beyond Meat, like what was in it, was equivalent to what they put in dog food.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I haven't had any issues with it. I don't know about fast food places. They may not use the quality that I use here. I use pretty good quality stuff. So that's really the only thing is it's expensive. It's a little expensive for it. You would think like, well, it's not actual beef, but no, it's pricey. But minus that's pretty good. Once a week. I ain't trying to eat once a week.
And I know you said you use the convection over your convection over the air fryer, correct?
That's all. They're the same thing. Air fryer, a convection oven is a giant air fryer. That's all it is. They both use hot air, just like I do to get through the hour of this podcast.
Mike, growing up, man, my mom, sometimes for school, if we didn't have enough time, she'd put a Pop-Tart in the convection oven, and then put some butter on it, dude. Man, talk about a treat.
Yeah, it's crazy because now, back then you had to have your own little tiny like oven that did that. And now my big oven that you use in the stove now is you could bake regular rotisserie or you can convection bake,
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I use that mainly. So it's like I have a oven-sized air fryer, which is pretty nice.
Yeah, and I love reheating pizza and those things too, dude.
The best way to do it. Oh, so good.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, Mike, enough food talk. We'll go on for hours here. You're looking at this victory, Mike. Was this a hard-fought victory or a lucky win?
I think it was a harder than necessary victory.
Okay.
It was like I feel like none of the units played up to standard. Like
No.
special teams had the fumble, and then they allowed the kick to bounce and go down to the 1 yard line. The offense started off scoring a couple touchdowns the first 3 drives, and then went 7 drives, only kicked 2 field goals. They didn't do great. And then the defense was the best unit, but still, like, when they got a turnover, the team just scored. But like you would think, like, okay, they had 1 QB hit, barely any pressures, no sacks for the first time. Like, they just, none of them seemed up for the moment after the first couple series. It was like, okay, unfortunately, we're not up 20 points like we thought, but we're still going to play like we're up 20 points,
Yeah. Yeah, for me, Mike, I think this was a hard-fought victory, a little different than you here. You mentioned the 0 sacks. I couldn't agree more with you, Mike, when you look at talking about every unit of the team not playing up to par. But the thing about this is the Texans defense hasn't allowed teams to score more than 25 points. They've allowed teams to score 25 points or more just 5 times all season, and they've allowed 400 total yards to teams just 5 times as well. I feel like this Texans defense doesn't get the respect that it deserves.
Yeah, I mean, it was better than I thought it would be, considering the personnel isn't like nobody pops out at you. But Lovie Smith's thing has always been defense, so he knows how to coach that unit. We're going to talk about it. I think there was some missed opportunities by Kellen Moore, but we'll talk about that later.
Yes, sir. Do you look at the yesterday's victory, Mike, and do you ask? I mean, I'm curious. Do you think last year's team would have won this game?
Which last year's team? Pre-New England, they would have beat them by a few touchdowns.
Beat the Braves, yeah.
Post-New England, they might have blew the game.
That's what I mean. Yeah, probably. That's a good way to look at it, because it's 2 totally different teams. I was probably thinking maybe the last 8 weeks, Cowboys.
They probably lose because Dak just wasn't right. He wouldn't have been right enough to drive that, to go $40 million quarterback on him and go 98 yards in that last drive. So yeah, they'd have probably lost. And I don't know if the defense would have been as good. Tank missed a lot of games. He had barely came back at the end. I don't know if he would have been up to making the play he did. So yeah, I'm not sure. I think they might have lost that last year.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, Mike. I don't think so either. I don't think last year's team has the will to win that this year's team does.
I agree. It was like they were learning, and they were. I feel like the quarterback was cautious coming off his injury.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Talking about Dak, you mentioned that $40 million drive, Mike. But prior to that, what was this Dak's worst game as a passer this season?
I'm going Tampa on that one. Tampa was so bad. Now, a lot of it was like rookie left tackle, Dennis Houston, wide receiver number 2. There was no Michael Gallup or anything. But I think Tampa had our number, and that was ugly. So that was the worst game for me.
Yeah, Mike, I look at it as statistically, no. I think it was definitely Tampa, but you look at it, Dak was off target all game except for that final drive. And it just didn't seem like he was seeing the field very well either. And he wasn't taking what the defense was giving him. I remember one play specifically, it was in the first quarter, like CD's running across the field. And he just, he's wide open. He could have easily gotten a first down, but Dak decides to throw it to Dalton Schultz and double covers, like a really difficult throw that he didn't end up converting. I believe we had to punt on that drive, but it just kind of seemed like, I don't know, Dak was, like I said, just not seeing the field well. Did you feel that way at all?
I went over a little bit, pardon me, of the 20 all 22 now. I was working, so it was harder. And what I seen, he didn't have a great game. I think it was more, the team doesn't have a lot of guys that can do more than attack over the middle. They're more Dalton Schultz, they're more seam routes, and the Texans decided we're really going to clog up the middle and make make plays on the outside.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that was difficult. And so, I don't know if it's his confidence in his weapons or what, or with the O-line once Steele went down. But they just haven't been attacking the boundaries like you would hope they would. And I think that was affecting them, the way the Texans decided we're really going to clog up in the middle.
Yeah, I to that point, they didn't really take a lot of deep shots yesterday, and you're kind of surprised because you think about Michael Gallup, they didn't have Derek Stingley. You look at that team, it's probably a team you should have beaten by double digits, but they didn't really test that secondary.
No, they didn't. I think like the second play of the game, they Gallup got deep, but they didn't hit on it. And and after that, it was a very conservative game plan, which we're about to get into.
It seems like since Gallup's been back, we're still kind of waiting for him to have that big game. I know we had 2 touchdowns the week prior to that, but it still seems like him and Dak really haven't connected yet.
Yeah, I don't know how far down the line Gallup is. I know Lamb is 1, Schultz is 2, and maybe even the running backs 3. And so Gallup is a 4th progression on most plays. And then the plays designed for him are going to be how many, and how many of them are going to work out right, to where you can get them to him. So, yeah, I don't think he's high priority.
Yeah. I mean, I would almost think that Pollard or Zeke would be second as far as passing than Schultz.
Schultz is like his go-to, though. If you watch that last drive, Schultz like 3-4 times. Like that's his guy he trusts for sure.
Right. Yeah, very true, very true. Kind of sticking with the offense here, Mike. Looking at Kellen Moore, was this his worst game this season?
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, it was one of those games where he reverted back. Like you felt like, what happened? Like there was barely any motion. I didn't understand that. Like after we used CeeDee Lamb in motion the most of any game last week, and it was really effective. They just didn't really go to it. Texans have maybe the worst rush defense in the league. I know it's a bottom 5 rush defense. Yeah. And in the first half, we were averaging 6.5 yards a carry. And instead we threw the ball 23 times. Like I don't get that. It seemed off for him that game. I don't know if it was like he was reverting to his okay, versus the Texans, I can do what I want to do. I'm a pass a little bit more, go more pass happy. And I didn't like his game plan. I thought it was poor.
Yeah, there was one series in the red zone in particular where I was very confused as to what was going on. Another missed opportunity, maybe something you plan on discussing later, but he wasn't very good yesterday, especially, getting the ball in CD's hands. I know every receiver, Gallup, Washington, and Noah Brown and CD all had 5 targets or more, but he just wasn't really putting them in a position to get the ball in their hands or giving them an opportunity to do anything.
Yeah, that the plan from Lovie Smith that clogged the middle of the field was effective. Now that said, they dropped like 2 TD passes and got stopped at the 1-yard line, and they scored 27 points still. So, there's also, they're doing really well right now. But yeah, I thought Houston had a good game plan that kind of messed with Dak and Kellen Moore a little bit.
Yes, sir. Mike, it came down to the end. When you look at that final drive for both the defense and the offense, which series do you think won us the game?
I got to go defense, because if they allow, they had the ball at the 4-yard line. If they allow a touchdown in those 4 plays, doesn't really matter what the next drive is, because they're down 10 points. So, it ended up, I think, being the DeMarcus Lawrence play was kind of the game-saving play. That was like their Turpin fumble, was DeMarcus Lawrence getting back there, and it made it not just a 4th and 1, but a 4th and 3, And so I would say the defense made the play. All props to the 98-yard drive. That is so impressive. But I got to give the defense, if I have to choose one, the D is going to get it.
I'm not sure how many snaps he played. I didn't look at his number, but it was nice to see a Gallimore sighting yesterday. And he actually had a pretty big play towards the end as well.
Terrible. He had a couple big plays. He was the one that got the stop on the 4th down after DeMarcus Lawrence. And then that batted ball in the screen. Like, he made a couple plays.
Osa was nice to see, man.
Osa was nasty.
Oh yeah, he had a great game. Yeah, I'll agree with you, Mike. I look at that final series, and of course, if the defense gives up the touchdown, then we're down double-digit points. So like you said, it doesn't matter what happens on the next drive. But yeah, I really think our offense fed off that the defense's energy and momentum, and that's what led us to win that game. So I'm gonna have to go with the defense as well.
I agree. Man,
yeah, it must be that weather bike that's got you sleepy. I know you've been working hard lately, my friend.
I've been busting, man, and but we're good.
Catching up to you. Yes, sir.
We won. If we had lost, I'd be like, the chair on, have the chair on, getting a massage.
Hey, I'm just that game yesterday was kind of a snoozer. If not for that final drive, we might have.
The first, like 2 of the first 3 drives, and then snooze fest till the last drive.
Yeah. Something with this news came out today that we are out. Terrence Steele is out for the remainder of the season, Mike. How confident are you in Pitre playing right tackle for the remainder of the year?
A lot higher than I am on ball playing it. I know that. Ball's like a 0, and Peter's like a 7.5. I think he'll be fine. He's not gonna, not give up plays. He's not used to the right side. If he stays healthy, though, we'll be pretty solid at that point. If Tyron's healthy and Peters is healthy, I think they'll play well on the outside.
I was surprised to see because I was curious if Peters had ever played right tackle. His second year in the league, he played right tackle the entire season. Then he went from left tackle to right tackle his third year. So I'm feeling pretty confident about it.
Yeah, it was like 2005 or something it's been?
Yeah, his second year in the league.
Crazy, man. He'll be all right.
I didn't know.
He's
for some reason
Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I was going to say, for some reason, I never knew that he was with the Buffalo Bills. I thought he was always with the Eagles.
Damn, I forgot about Peters being with the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, that's wild, right?
Crazy.
All right, Mike, we would like to do this on the Monday night show. Give us a Monday Night Football score update if you're watching the game.
13-13, third quarter, 7.5 to go, and I believe New England has the ball. Let me see where. Maybe they're punting right. No, 2nd and 10.
Did you see what happened to Kyler Murray?
Yeah, he was doing a scramble. His guys recovered, scrambled out of the pocket, was just running forwards, like stepped wrong or something, and went down. It was non-contact. It honestly didn't even look that bad on replay, but I mean, knowing the league, it's probably some kind of ligament injury.
You hate to see it, man.
I hate it, dude. We're losing. We lost him. We lost Debo. A guy like Steele is important, It's just a lot of injuries. It's rough.
Yeah, yesterday was rough. The last 2 weeks have been rough with injuries.
They really have. And that's the thing. Expanding out, man. More games. Gonna be what it is. It's gonna be more injuries.
Yeah. So, Mike, going back to the Cowboys, you look at this team. Is this team more of a should be 11-2 or a should be an 8-5 team?
When Dak Prescott got hurt, they had Cincy, Philly, and the Rams on their schedule, and the Giants were still a playoff team, I believe, right now. So they definitely should be 8-5. I don't know how they managed 4-1 with Cooper Rush running at bottom 5 offense in the league. Like, it's crazy what that defense pulled off before it kind of got worn down, and now it's still good, but not that same elite unit.
Yeah. Yeah, I look at it, we look at talking about the defense, Mike. You mentioned it, with Coop, we lost Dak for 5 games. We had a rookie left tackle, a rotation at left guard. Our wide receiver play outside of CD has been inconsistent. we should be 8-5 to outsiders, but this team just finds ways to win, man. So I feel like we should be 11-2.
Oh, really? Oh, you came around on that, huh?
Yeah.
If Dak's healthy the whole one, I agree.
Yeah, that's a good point. So should we feel good about winning this game, Mike, or does it raise more questions about this team?
I'm going more questions, but it's not really about how they played, but the injuries. Diggs' hand, Steele's ACL and MCL, I believe it was. Jonathan Hankins, and his pectoral. Like, that's 3 huge contributors to the team.
Yes.
And, Peters comes in and he'll be fine there. But what if somebody gets hurt? Then what do you do? I think Bohanna and Watkinson come in and be okay. Not Hankins, but they could be serviceable. But what if something happens there? Like, it lessens your depth. And then if Diggs goes out, we're really hurting. The kids played well yesterday, but they can't. No, they're not going to make it if he's out multiple weeks.
Yeah, I didn't exactly see what happened to his hand. I remember just seeing him like on the ground, and then he was on the sideline kind of tending to his hand, but I didn't actually see the play where he injured his hand. Do you know what happened?
I believe they said that it's been an ongoing thing, and it was like a re-aggravation. A ball hit it, or he hit some player or something with it while they were moving, or something like that happened where he's had the injury for a while, but just like re-aggravated it.
They've kept that thing under wraps because I don't remember hearing about a hand injury. So
they've done a good job of keeping that stuff under wraps. Mike McCarthy off season people, so that's good.
So, Mike, I'm going to defer to you on this next question. I'm not going to make a old joke or anything because, I like to bust your chops from time to time. But when you look at this Cowboys team, do you see any similarities between this team and the 90s Super Bowl teams?
Other than they're young, no. The coaching staff's not as good. The offense is not as good. The defense is not as good. We had a pretty good special teams unit back then, but like they have pieces, they have pieces that are like those 90 teams, but overall 90 teams are so much better.
We've talked about this a couple of times, but do you still think that this team, if got to the Super Bowl, could win a Super Bowl?
If they got there, yeah, because it's one game for everything, and you have a quarterback that can get hot and win one game. You have a pass rush that can get hot and win you a game. You have a punt returner who can win you a game. You have a kicker that makes deep field goals and has been accurate all year, knock on wood, and can win you a game. So, yeah, I think if it got down to one game, they definitely could.
So I feel that makes me feel better. After yesterday's game, what did you learn and realize about this team?
I think Brett Maher is our most consistent player.
Oh, okay.
Obviously Zach, but like even Zach got beat a couple times. Brett Maher like barely misses now. Like it's like that 53-yarder he kicked like he was kicking an extra point. When I seen him kicking, I was like, damn, was he having the strength kicking it like that? And it went through about like 10 yards. I was like, it looked like he didn't even he didn't even try. It was crazy.
Yeah, he's been a pleasant surprise, man. He won us that Bengals game, but yeah, he's been a far cry from what he was in 2019 to what he is today.
Yeah, basically when he lines up from under 55, you're like, okay, this is going in.
Yeah. Man, I'm still back-to-back 60-yarders, dude, was just God.
And he made it better the second time. He was like, okay, I got it lined up now. Yeah, 60 yards ain't nothing. I'll just kick it regular. Like crazy.
And to think, man, he wasn't even in like training camp. And when he was like the third guy considered for the job.
I'm very glad they quiet as it's kept, because Lord knows I've killed the front office a lot on here, but like Peters, Maher, LVE, Barr had a bad game this last one, but he's had some good games. Like they've low key signed a lot of good guys to come in and help around the team enough to keep them contenders.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, Mike, some more recent news. The Cowboys signed another guy, T.Y. Hilton. What are your thoughts there?
I think they saw like 10 plays of James Washington and we're like, oh, man, we better get one more in here just in case. So, yeah, I'd say that's not a good sign for James Washington. But I like T.Y. I think he's a sideline threat, a vertical threat. He's great on digs and the ones good digs all the way across the field, slant ins, good hands. He should be fresh. So while it's not like unbelievable, incredible, it is a good signing. I like the idea. If it doesn't work out, you don't lose anything out of it.
Yeah, he's played a lot of games, played in playoff games. He offers something that we desperately need. So I like the signing as well.
DeAndre Hopkins went full loaf of bread and got hit and dropped the ball, and New England picked it up, ran in for a touchdown.
Oh, wow. All right, Mike, we've got a longer views from the sidelines this week. We've got 3 different views for the audience this week. We're going to go with view number 1. Sorry, my internet is very slow tonight.
That's okay.
All right, Mike, your first view from the sidelines is, what were your thoughts on Kelvin Joseph's first start?
I thought he was pretty AB level. The big play that they called wasn't a catch. I don't know how they. It was like we went back 3 years ago. I'm like, that clearly wasn't a catch. Like, the announcers knew it, everybody at home knew it. Like, Eagle fans were like, damn, that was obviously not a catch, but we'll take it. Like, yeah. It was that was crazy. He got the big third down pass breakup. He played fine. People take a big shot on AB every game, and have been getting it recently. They got the one on Joseph. They got him, even though it was incomplete. He played more physical. I noticed one thing. I don't know if this was a coincidence or not, but I feel like they ran a lot of tank to dig side, make you run at tank if you want to run at digs. And I thought that was pretty smart because Kelvin Joseph's more physical than Anthony Brown. So running on his side isn't going to be the cakewalk, it has been.
Mm-hmm. So if you were to give him a letter grade, what would you give him for his first start of the season?
Solid B. Great work.
Okay. So next, Mike, we're going to do a player reevaluation. Jalen Pitre, what did you see from him, and what differences did you see yesterday compared to when you did your evaluation of him in the offseason?
He's much more violent than I thought he would be. Like, he is a violent player. He's one of those guys, one of those Donovan Wilson enforcer types. It's like, oh shit, do I want to catch this type thing. He was the guy that stood out more than any other player the whole game. Like, he just seemed to be all over the place, and he was imposing his will on Dallas. Like, you will feel me. And so, I was very impressed. Saw him as like a deep middle type safety, more like a playmaking safety, but I didn't know he had that kind of, laying the wood behind him.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought also when you evaluated him in the offseason that you thought there might be some effort issues.
Yeah, and that was not a thing in the games. Now, I didn't watch any of Houston's tape to break them down, what they're going to do, this or that. They're just not good enough to use that time on. And so maybe this was just an anomaly that he was like, no, it's my time now. This is the big stage.
Yeah, very well could be. He looked great. I know he leads the Texans in tackles this year, but man, you talk about violent. He was all over the field yesterday.
He was. Violence, a great word. Pitre was very impressive.
Yes, sir. And your last view from the sideline, Mike, was the last drive in yesterday's game what you've been wanting to see from Dak?
Yeah, but I do want to see it versus better competition. But yes, this is the spot he got a shot at it, and he did what he needed to do. He played like the $40 million beast. When everybody's like 40 mil, I'm like, he's running a number one offense since his return. and he just gave you that where he beasted on people. Like he's doing good. The 40. I love the one guy said this is where you earn your 40 million, and he definitely did.
How crazy is it that Baker Mayfield and Dak both had 98-yard game-winning drives in the same week?
Unbelievable. That Baker one was crazy because he didn't even know the plays, the cadence, how the tackles look in practice. Like he just came in and won that game. You're like, what the hell? He's an impressive kid.
Yes, sir. Definitely impressive. All right, Mike, here we are with one word. We're going to do a Houston Texans edition. Use one word to describe the Houston Texans defense.
Man. Try to come up with one. I feel like unlovey-like fits. It's not that they're not. They do it in a way that's not Lovey Smith. Like Lovey Smith was stop the run, rush the passer. Like that was his thing. And this one, I feel is more like they're very good at playing the run, a pass with Stingley and the guys. But they're one of the worst run defenses, and I just don't expect that from Lovey Smith. So I said unlovey-like.
I like that. Kid made up your own word. For me, Mike, I have to go with the Houston Texans defense is up and coming. They're top 15 in pass yards. They're last in rush yards. They've allowed a league low 11 passing TDs and a league low 5 receiving touchdowns. I feel like they're an up and coming unit, Mike.
We both used 3 words for our one word segment.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if the dashes would count it as if they brought it together to make it one word, or if they were still 3.
We cheated, but it's okay. We both cheated, so it makes it fair.
Yeah, that does. All right, here we are with top 5, Mike. It's the holiday season. People are generally happier, so we thought this week we would rank our top 5 things that make us happy. So, Mike, start us off with number 5.
This was tough. I had 6. Leaving one out was brutal. I put number 5, going to the movies with Denny. My favorite thing to do all week. That's my buddy.
Mm-hmm.
So we went and saw Violent Night, his choice. He wanted to see that. We get in for free. So to be clear, if you hear a movie and you're like, why would you even go see that? Well, because we're not paying. We have the unlimited pass. So Violent Night, and I was watching it like, it's a little cringy to start, but once you get into it and the way he was into it, it kind of got me into it. And by the end, I was like, this isn't that bad. I like this movie. Good deaths, corniness, fun. So it's a good popcorn movie.
And how can you not like Hopper playing Santa Claus, right?
Yeah, he's great. I didn't like his Hellboy, but I think I'm a big fan of Ron Perlman and Guillermo del Toro. So if they were going to do a rated R Hellboy, just let Guillermo del Toro do it. Seriously, just let him do it. So yeah, I was kind of disappointed in that, but otherwise he's been great. He's great in Black Widow as the dad, hilarious in that. So he's one of my favorites.
I'm curious, is Denny, when he goes to the movies, does he want the soda, the popcorn, the candy, the nachos, the pickle, and all that stuff, or what's his style there?
We want the whole snack experience. That's literally a quote. And then they don't even eat the popcorn. I'm like, we're not getting popcorn. They like nachos, Pepsi Icy, popcorn, side of cheese sauce to dip the popcorn in. Once the cheese sauce is gone, basically no more popcorn. So I'm like, stop getting the popcorn because I can't have it. It makes me sick. I love it. And I eat it and then I get sick. So I'm like, stop getting the popcorn. Get everything else.
Well, next time if they do get popcorn and they get nachos, try popcorn with a jalapeno and get back to me. It's one of the best combinations ever.
I would do that, but you're not going to get Denny to eat a jalapeno.
Oh, really? Okay, he's that guy?
He's picky. Picky. Bun, meat, bun. Ketchup.
Gotcha. I don't know what it is about the movie theater nachos, but something about the round chip and that cheese sauce and then the pickled jalapeno. Something about them, man. It's one of my favorite nachos.
Bro. It hits.
Always.
Because you're like, this is 7-Eleven bullshit and I'm paying $10 for it. And then you have a nacho and you're like, well, the nachos are pretty good.
Exactly. All right, Mike, number 5 on my list. You might be surprised, but compared to the other things on my list, you'll probably understand. I'm going to say when the Cowboys win, that makes me very happy.
5, huh?
Yeah.
5.
I know it's low, but I mean, I could have put so much stuff on this list. The fact that it made it in my top 5, I mean, that should say something. It's probably pretty high on your list, I assume, if it even made your list. But you'll see why.
Yeah, that making happy. It's hard to get like trivial things in there, because you're trying to like the one that didn't make it on my list was like making my goals. I set myself goals every day, read 10 pages, exercise, it's weekly goals really. But
Yes.
every day there's daily goals like read 10 pages a day, drink 4 bottles of water a day. And when you hit those goals, you feel good. Like even exercising, like my body hurts. I hurt my ankle. Like I'm on disability. I shouldn't be working as much as I am. I'm like beat up. But when you get done with the workout, you're like, all right, man, I got through. Awesome. You feel good. You don't feel good about the red line. You had to pump like simulated crack into your body to get through it. But whatever, you got through it. All right.
Mike, it's funny you mentioned that because number 4 on my list, being productive.
Yeah.
When you're hitting those daily goals, when you're, like it's always nice to, like on Sundays, man, it's nice to sit around, watch football, kind of be lazy. But it's only nice if like you had a long week of working and doing things you're supposed to be doing. Like when you take care of all that stuff and then you kind of sit down and enjoy that end of the week and enjoy watching the football in front of the TV. It makes it so much more worth it. But like when all you've been doing all week is watching TV and then finally Sunday comes, it's just like, I kind of wish I was, going to do something today.
Yeah, it was funny. I typically do nothing on Sunday, and I actually did work out and I cooked. So, I think I caused a problem with Cowboys this week. Mitchell was like, hey, can I go play D&D? I'm super superstitious. I do not we need to watch our game. We need to do this and that. And he's like, can I go play D&D with Edward and them? They could play. He normally goes Wednesdays. I'm like, go ahead. It's the Texans. If you can't beat the Texans. And then I called them in the fourth quarter and was like, never again. Not play Sundays during football. So you want to do it on Christmas because we play on the 24th on my birthday? Fine. Otherwise, don't ask me. He's not doing it. He's a grown man. He's a grown man. He's like 30-something years old.
Mike, do you get down with D&D?
Oh, I used to. There was no D&D unless I taught him. Just not anymore. I don't have time for that. I barely have time. I have a PS5. I barely play it. I have God of War. I haven't played it in like 2 weeks. Like, it's so bummed. But I just don't. I get done with this. I've got to prep. I got to prep food tomorrow. Can I work out? It's just no time. Like, when I get through this Disneyland trip and I'll go back to 3 days a week. It's funny because I talked about this like a month ago. Then I went right back to 5 days a week after like 2 weeks. But I'm going to go back down to 3 days a week here starting in January. And, I'll get more time to, watch my movies and play my video game a little bit at least.
Oh, that's a perfect transition, Mike, is watching movies and playing video games. Is that number 4 on your list?
No, number 4 is my dogs. The dogs could easily be number 1. You notice I put them ahead of Denny. Like, dog's way over going and seeing Denny. He would even know. He knows that. Like, me and Mitchell, you would always make a joke. There could be a dog that we're literally taking to the vet to put down. Like, it is dying, and an infant baby in the street. And if a car's coming, we're gonna grab the dog.
Right.
Bam! Sorry about that, baby. There'll be more of you. It's so mean, but that's how we are. We have signs all over the house that says dogs welcome, people tolerated.
Oh yeah.
Be the person your pet believes you are. Like, we're all animals. Like, I love animals. It's like I could never hunt or do any of that. Even the good hunting, like where there's like an overpopulation and the hunting helps. Like, even then, I'm like, nah, dude, I ain't trying to kill no animal, dude. Like it's hard for me to like kill like the bugs and spiders, let alone like legitimate like fur animal type. Even possums, like the scariest friggin' looking things in the world. I'm like, I don't want the possum to get hurt. So yeah,
exactly.
I'm an animal person, so yeah, my dogs they annoy me. Like the Cisco's one ate something off my cutting board. I wanted to kill him, but then it's like he's like his tail gets going, and I'm like, you little shit. And I pet him, but he got yelled at. He got yelled at pretty bad when he did that. He knew he was in trouble. Do not take. You get fed enough, fat ass. You don't need to take my damn food.
Yeah, I hear you. All right, Mike, what's number 3 on your list?
Number 3, good food and cooking.
Oh, there you go. That's a good one then.
Could easily be number 1. I love food. Right now, I think I'm down 6 pounds and I'm trying to lose 20 more. And, so food is like a battle right now for me. Otherwise, it probably would have been number 1. Number two, if we're honest. But I love cooking and I love really good food. So that definitely was an easy top 3 for me.
Yes, sir. All right, Mike, number 3 on my list.
No, 4
is...
No? Oh, you did. Yeah, you did 4. Sorry.
Going on car rides with my dog. My dog loves to be in the car, dude. That's kind of how we connected first. First, he smiled. I had never seen a dog smile before. But then when I found out he loved car rides, it was over, man. He had me wrapped around his paw.
Dogs are the best. I love all animals, but dogs are definitely the best ones.
No question about it, dude. Easily.
Yeah. I need a corgi.
Yeah, and when he was younger, man, like I'd roll down the window and he would get all the way out and like be his like fur flapping in the wind and everything, and people would always drive by, honk, and be like, pointing at my dog and everything, and just be so shocked to see a dog doing that. Like it was funny seeing how other people, like, seeing him be so happy made them happy.
Yeah, it's the dogs are like, for the most part, 90% of the time, dogs are like so happy inducing. They really are. Some people are just terrified of them, but all in all, they bring happiness to people about 90% of the time. You see a dog, you're just like, oh, cute.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, absolutely. I haven't met too many dogs I don't like, Mike.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if there is one. If it chases one of the cats, then I got to like, I'll go out there and be like, hey, get out of here and run them off. But otherwise, I'm pretty good about all dogs.
Yes, sir. All right, Mike, number 2 on my list, spending time with family and friends. And usually what that entails is we're probably watching a Cowboys game. They're coming over to play games when I get to cook food for everybody. We're just sitting around chopping it up, watching a movie. Over the Thanksgiving break, I kind of saw both sides, because on Thanksgiving, like, we went out to breakfast, and then I made the baked ziti and everything. So I kind of had my nerves racked because I was making a meal for everybody. But then that Friday, I went bowling with my little cousins who I haven't got to hang out with in a long time, and we got to get some Chinese food and play the new Mario on Nintendo Switch, and that was a good time. So it's like, spending time with family, but kind of like 2 different experiences, but still bringing joy and happiness.
How much responsibility do you have during the time with the family? That's the question. When you have to bake the food and make the dinner and everything, you're like, when you're just there to have a good time, it's a lot easier.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, very true. Very true. All right, Mike, what's number 2 on your list?
Number 2 on my list, sports victories. Watching my team win. Especially absolutely. Like titles. Like, I have a lot of memories. Being when I watched baseball back in the day, I was a Yankees fan. I loved Darryl Strawberry. So I saw a lot of winning there. I've been a Lakers fan my whole life. So Kareem, Magic, Shaq and Kobe, and then the latest one with LeBron. And then Cowboys been a while, but I got 3 of them in the 90s. So I've had a lot of winning, and man, that Cowboys one, God, it's gonna be special.
Magical, dude.
If they can get one, especially with Dak and Micah, like 2 players I legitimately love. Like, I love those 2 players. Like,
yeah,
it's gonna be special.
Dude, watching Dirk Nowitzki finally get his ring, man, that was such a special moment in my life, dude.
His second ring, because I'm a Lakers fan. I have no dog in the fight. I love Luka, so I do kind of like, but I had nothing against the Miami Heat team, or that was like the weirdest shit I ever. It's like everybody bet on Miami, and it's like, hey, we're gonna cash in. Like, I don't know what, maybe the Mavs odds to win were like really, really great, and so everybody bet the underdog Miami team and then forced them to win. But that was one of the most unusually called series I've ever seen in my life.
No, well, like the head referee, he came out and said that he fixed that finals, dude.
Well,
you never heard about that?
No.
Yeah, it's well known now.
He didn't even need to say it like that. It was there was like 24 free throws a game. It was ridiculous. Dirk should have 2 rings. Then he'd be in that conversation as not just the greatest foreign player, but legitimately in the conversation of the greatest power forward of all time.
Yeah. Man, I went from Dirk to Luka. I think about that all the time. I can't believe I had the pleasure of doing that, dude.
Bro, that's magic. And then we had a little spell, but then Shaq, Kobe, and now LeBron. Like,
dude, that's ridiculous.
Crazy.
All right, Mike, here we are, number 1. What's number 1 on your list?
Women. I mean, they could be the biggest pain in the ass, too. Like,
yeah,
it's a 50-50, but when it's good, it's the best. It's not, and not just like, having sex. That's part of it. But like when you do something that's like a legitimate like joy, like you bring them joy, that can make you legitimately happy. Like getting them a gift that they like, or going on a trip that they're excited about. It's like making a female happy is like, or your partner. I'm sorry, I should. That's kind of crappy of me. Your partner, you're enjoying your partner. I don't mean to make it sound like only men and women. If women and women, men and men, your partner, like doing something with them that like makes it's like legitimately like one of the best things in the world. Like it's awesome, So I'm not going to give specific examples of anything, but there's been a lot of times where a gift or something, and then just straight up sex. Obviously, I mean, let's be honest, sex. There ain't nothing better than sex. Sex like pizza. Bad sex is amazing. Then it just gets better. Red Baron is like, okay, it's still pizza. It's like missionary with somebody that you're not really attracted to and you're drunk. And then it goes up from there.
Oh my goodness, dude. Red Baron is way better than that, Mike. Come on. Yeah, back before my son was born, before he took my spot, and my wife used to, when she still liked me, man, I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, that should be your number 1, just so you know. If you have any brains at all, number 1 is like my wife. Clearly, oh God, it's not, is it? What is your number 1?
No, it's not. My wife would probably be okay with this, but making my son laugh, dude, is number 1 for me.
Okay.
Because he's a real mama's boy, man, and I'm competing with mom. I'm competing with grandma. I'm competing with grandpa. So those little moments when we get to play and he wants my attention and I'm chasing him around the house, or we're playing our little like peekaboo game, or we're playing the game where I'm scaring him and stuff, and I actually get one of those real like genuine belly busting laughs. No greater feeling than that, dude.
You saved yourself. You're safe. You brought the sun into it. You're okay. Oh man. Yeah. When you were like, it's not the wife, I'm like, what is he doing?
Yeah, if it's not the wife, it's going to be the son, I promise you.
Yeah, I still might have just been like, the son second and just do the wife first. just on the son won't know yet. He's too young to get upset about it.
You know what, Mike? There might be a chance where if we're doing a top 5 and my wife made a list, that my son would definitely be on there, and there's a chance I might not be on there.
That's okay. That when it's the other way, who cares about the guy? F you. You don't matter. The son should be like the top 3. You're not even going to be on. Friends will go above you. Good wine will go above you. Watching a show with a hotter guy will go above you.
Oh God, dude.
That's okay. Watching Peaky Blinders and seeing Tom Hardy and Peaky Blinders. Cillian Murphy.
I've never actually seen an episode of Peaky Blinders.
Great show. Elite, especially the parts where he's not like in every episode, but like once or twice a season, you'll get Tom Hardy in there.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And women, give them a bottle of wine and let them watch those two. And that'll make the list over your ass. And that's okay. Whatever you say, honey, that's fine. But you, top two, better be son and wife or wife and son. That's
true
it.
True that. Well, Mike, we made it through the episode, sir. You seem to have caught your second win, my friend.
Yeah, it's always nice getting on here talking to, it's so crazy because we've never met, but it's like we're best friends,
I know.
Yeah, it's like getting on and talking with Muhammad or Mitchell or, Cisco, and it's you just get into it and kind of, it lifts your spirits.
Yeah, the year that we get to go to training camp and finally meet up, man, that'll be a great moment, sir.
It's gonna be crazy because that's gonna be like I want to meet Jeff, I want to meet Brian, and there's plenty of people like Dan and Massey and everybody, but we're like the crew, like it's me and you. We've been in this for 3 years now. It's like we've never met. The minute that happens, whether I'm somehow able to get my dying ass down to Texas to see the stadium and go to a game, and you end up going, or if it's you come here and we both end up at Oxnard, it's going to be crazy.
Yes, sir. I look forward to it, man. It's almost like reached bucket list territory for me.
Yeah. It's got to happen. It's on the bucket list.
Well, Mike, sir, as always, man, I enjoyed our discussion tonight. While we're getting you out of here, remind the people where they can find you on Twitter.
Letter C, letter D, Piglet, at CD Piglet, guys. Nice and easy.
Guys, I'm Paul Ryan. You can find me on Twitter at Paul_Ryan15. We appreciate you joining us, and we'll see you guys next week.
Look at us with the 52 minutes.